Yeah, between two burns. Between two burns, yeah, between two burns. Come and join the convo. Jason and Ethan here to talk, yo. Chillin' while we filling up the room with cigar smoke. Hey, between two burns. Between two burns, yeah, between two burns. This be the show that you like. We always keeping it hype. We got cigars and a mic, talking the pipe and the pint. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Between Two Burns is back and badder than ever.
In our new permanent podcast studio. That's the first time we've been able to say that.
Yeah, so we've said it in the last couple of episodes where we've been all over the new lounge in different spots or whatever it may be. And then we've been hinting at that this is going to be, that we've got a room here that we can set it up. Now, we're not completely and totally tricked out yet, but get used to the fireplace and the antler backdrop with some better lighting and all those things.
The antlers make me feel like I'm a real boy, real man.
But this is going to be our permanent home. We talked about it, get a nice setup, good lighting, get the microphones permanently kind of set so we don't have to break it down all the time. Allows us to record quickly. Like right now we're recording in the middle of the day, which we've done in the past in Durham, obviously with customers walking around and stuff, which is fun to do. But in the past, we'd have to stay late after hours. In this new spot, we don't want to be staying after hours to record at 1 a.m.
Speaking of,
like
this is tangential, but speaking of Durham,
what is
I meant to tell you this earlier. Today's the 1 year anniversary of the incident in Durham.
The dong incident?
The dong incident.
This is literally
it's the 1 year
so
anniversary.
ingrained in your brain that you know the exact day.
I saw it on my time hop this morning, but yeah, because literally the text message was, I just saw a dude's dick. I screenshotted it and sent it to somebody and was like, what is happening right now? And that was what popped up.
That sounds like a 90s rap song.
Yeah,
I just saw a dude's dick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good times.
Good times. Our permanent spot. Now we can drop in. You're going to get more frequent podcasts. It's, we've been trying to do a bi-weekly thing. It gets tough, especially with us doing the new place and everything like that. So expect more content from us.
Feels like the start of season 2 of Between Two Burns almost.
It now officially is. Season 2,
right
episode 1.
Right on.
Why not?
I like it.
Right?
Yeah.
First one in the new spot, season 2.
Cool.
We got picked up. And NBC called and said, well, let's do another season, baby. But yeah, so now we're going to get on our frequency that we want to be, at least at an every other week clip. You will see more content from us now because we've got this place to record, whether it's talking about different things that we've got coming in. You may see videos with just me, you may see videos with just you. This makes it a ton easier for a guest. Obviously, we can pull the table out, put another chair in, literally get somebody between two burns, and we can do those types of things. So it's really cool for us to be able to get in this spot now where we've got a home. Mm-hmm. It was fun doing it all the places, but as we've gotten into a pattern of doing more of these, it became more and more clear that we needed something where it wasn't such a pain in the butt to do all that stuff, right? Like breaking the microphones down, picking them up, whatever it may be. So,
well, we were always traveling to go do the podcast too. So we had to make sure with your schedule, my schedule, the day worked, the timing worked and everything. Now it's just, hey, let's go to a podcast.
Yeah, now we can pop up if something happens in the cigar world we want to talk about. If somebody pops through that we want to talk to, we can do that. We've got some different ways that we're going to be able to switch the chairs out with desk or whatever. Maybe we do some more lives, when we have the chance to do those types of things. Can be really cool for us to do. And hopefully we can get some guests on that people we can talk to in person. Could be really good as well. So all the things, really, really good ideas. So get used to this backdrop. We're going to add some stuff to it, really trick it out, get our lights going, really up our production quality, as they say. There was something very homey to our grainy video and everything like that, but we really want to give the people what they want.
That's exactly right.
Quality, clear quality content.
Only the best.
You can't put these two beautiful faces on the internet and not get a,
We still need a fan club name.
These are faces for 4K, as I say. Yeah. Oh, fan club,
Only the best for the fan club.
Yeah, only the best for the fan
That's
club.
right.
Like, subscribe, and you're a part of the fan club.
That's right.
That's all you have to do.
Easy entry.
Easy
access.
The easiest club you're going to get into.
That's exactly right.
We did Cigar Club. For those who are familiar with us, we do, starting in the spring, we do Cigar Club once a month. It was our first official cigar club at the new place this past Friday. We did it with Fuente. Major hit. Obviously doubled as our first Friday open. So, felt a little bit like a de facto grand opening. We'll talk about our grand opening official at some point in the podcast. But somebody commented on Instagram and said, how do you get into Cigar Club? Is there a membership thing? I said, nope, just show up. It's the easiest club that you'll ever get into.
Yep, that's exactly
There
right.
are no restrictions,
Someone
no
asked me
applications.
if there was a dress code, and I responded back no, and then realized that shirt, shoes required. But otherwise,
yeah,
cool,
you got to wear pants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah.
We don't. Obviously, we've had some customers that we said
listen.
who did not get that memo. That maybe your dong is out is fine, but
We prefer
kind of
it if
thing.
you wore pants.
yeah, we would prefer it. You wore pants.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cigar Club, big hit, easiest thing. So everybody who's been listening, everybody who may have been following us for the last 4 or 5 months, 3 months ago, I think we officially kind of announced the move and everything like that, knows that we've been working on this new location. And it's finally, even though there's some oddities and some odds and ends that we got to take care of, it's finally come to fruition, right? And we talked about what do we want to talk about on the podcast, and I said literally I think the title of this podcast is going to be "We Opened a Cigar Bar, Now What?" Because you and I and everybody in the entire team, we've been talking about this. We've been going over procedures. We've been going over the efficiencies, going over the things that we want to do, what we want there. The reality of it is, despite being open for 28 years, and having the Durham store, which is a cigar bar, we don't do mixed beverage spirits there, but we are looking at that in the near future. But we do have full bar beer and wine. This is still even more new and foreign to us than that was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I told, we've got multiple great new bartenders, Hannah, Jasa, and then Bree coming on. I kind of told all of them, my experience with the bar business is on the customer side.
Mm-hmm.
So the knowledge that they can bring and the advice that they would have on procedures, whatever it may be, was as important to us as anything.
Yeah, I remember you and I had a conversation, and I told you, hey, man, I can figure out how to manage a bar, but I don't know how to manage a bar. Never done it before.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it the other day. If Jasa hadn't had the experience that she has and wasn't as good as she is, I had no idea all the extra stuff that went along with it. I mean, I understood ordering and inventory management, but all the things that the state requires and keeping up with and waste and everything like that.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was a thing. And
I knew some of that stuff, but in a very beginner fashion.
Yeah.
Right. How to execute it was new to us.
Yep.
And everything like that.
And, coming up with a cocktail, I can make a whiskey sour now. That's cool. But I told you I can make an old fashioned, and that was about it. She came up with a great cocktail menu. And we've got good plans coming up for, seasonal cocktails. And even this past weekend, did the Mojito for the Fuente event, did the Mulligan for the PGA Championship.
Yeah, that's stuff that we kind of, we didn't really discuss beforehand, but kind of popped up in the moment. We had an event with Fuente, the Casa Fuente in Las Vegas, if anybody's been there. Was very famous for their Mojito. So we did that for Cigar Club with Friday night, which was a hit. We went through a bunch of that. And then it just happened to be PGA Championship this past weekend. And Elijah Craig is a huge sponsor of the PGA Championship, and they are the official bourbon of the PGA Championship. The official cocktail was the Mulligan, which was essentially a bourbon lemonade type of mix. You and I got to have it last year at the actual PGA Championship, and it was great.
Real good.
So we did that for the PGA Championship for anybody coming in, but had tons of people watching the golf. And those types of little things now we can execute. Those little ideas are much easier for us to do.
Yeah, I think the big word that I keep using when I talk to anybody about it is opportunity, right? This space gives us the opportunity to do things that we never in our wildest dreams thought we could do or could have accomplished at the old location.
Yeah, just literally impossible.
Literally impossible.
Right, we didn't have the space for it. walking through kind of the steps, we came upon the space, and if you're a listener and you've never been into the Pipe and Pint, you probably can't imagine or understand what we stumbled upon in a new place. Mm-hmm. Not all of our Pipe and Pints are in old houses, but we are known for the Greensboro location, the Winston-Salem location, the High Point location, for being in former residential houses. And the High Point and the Greensboro one, especially, very old houses. A couple stories that 1920s, 1930s style of house in the South. And for us to come across another one, just in general, is hard to do, right? Because a lot of these are being torn
in a commercial
down,
area.
But this is in a commercial area. So now we've gone from, our space before, which we were bursting at. We had our good humidor, but it had kind of Frankensteined over the years. Shelves had to be added, but they weren't adequately spaced. We had to mess with boxes. It didn't look efficient. It didn't look full, when in reality it was, because how we had to double stack boxes. And it's like some boxes are back to back, but
some stuff on the floor.
Some stuff on the floor didn't look good. And then we had our small smoking lounge, which, holds a dear spot in my heart and your heart, because we both, were customers at one point where we'd hang out back there. And, our small beer and wine room. And for us to now get a space for which we basically triple size, roughly usable space, large wine room set up front, orienting the average customer. You come into the front door where you immediately walk into kind of our pipe and pipe tobacco area, as well as to your left, the wine room. You make your way back and towards the middle of the building, and the bar itself is nicely appointed, kind of right in the middle. Works out great for us. And again, by happenstance, it was already there. We did upgrades and we improved and we closed off walls and we boxed in to make the humidor, which, I don't know many humidors that have a beautiful fireplace inside the humidor.
I don't know of any.
Yeah. No, we will not be using it. We're very aware. Not a good idea. And then the lounge, and even the lounge's orientation is great. It's L-shaped, but not narrow.
Yeah.
And it wraps around an awesome outdoor patio that we've got now, and huge windows to look out and in. And then we've got storage in the back. We've got this room upstairs that we're in now. We've got additional room up here for us to do those things. So for us to, sort of stumble upon it, it is a place that, that I stalked for a while and then finally pulled the trigger just to try to get us in here, and it worked out. So shout out to those guys who helped us do that. It's the cigar shop equivalent to, a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
A tipped Hail Mary in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. It just doesn't work out like this, but in very rare circumstances.
Yeah. And, one of the coolest things to see over the last, 10 days basically that we've been open over here, you and I talked a lot about how we envisioned people using the space and everything, but having the Fuente event Friday and then Saturday, seeing it come to fruition, people going outside and hanging out. During the Fuente event, there were more people outside on the patio than I think there were inside. Chairs everywhere. Guys were bringing their wives, which was something that we hoped was going to happen, so that they could come have a cocktail while their husband or significant other smoked a cigar. That was awesome to see. Inside, we had everybody not smoking at the bar, which we can talk about, but we allowed smoking at the bar for the event. We had all the guys sports betting up at the bar. Yeah. I mean, it was just awesome.
And it never felt overwhelming either, which is great, because I think the efficiency of the setup of the space helped that. The way everybody passes through. Like any bar, when you're packed, the bar itself is packed. You got to squeeze in to get a drink and everything like that. That's just the nature of the bar. That's one of those, it's a problem, but it's a good problem, right? If you've got a lot of people hanging out at the bar to get drinks, that means you're selling a lot of stuff, which is fantastic.
And, this is tangential again, but getting into the bar a little bit, I was talking to both Jace and Hannah Friday night, and I was like, y'all have worked other places before that have bars. How is this running in comparison. And they said something that they really liked was that we were going back and asking people what kind of cocktails they wanted so they didn't feel overwhelmed, which keeps the bar running efficiently, the drinks coming at a quicker pace. And that was not something that either you or I talked about, but it just kind of happened to work out that way. I mean, it's, I hate to use the word perfect, but it's pretty much perfect the way everything has come to.
So far, so good. And we will learn, different things. But it's one of those things like, we've been in business for, going on 30 years. The Greensboro store was in that previous location for, were we there for 16 years, something like that. And, a concern of ours when we made the leap was, hey, what's the average consumer reaction going to be? And I think if you are moving any business, let alone a cigar shop, but a cigar shop where you have a lot of regulars, that, for me was a concern what the reaction was going to be. And the reality is any business that you have, the old adage is if you're not growing, you're dying. And we have been growing and growing and growing for years. In some cases, growing to the point where it's a bit of an issue, right? Like, how do we keep up with supply but manage cash properly? What's too much where? Those kind of things. But this was a move for us that, some person that comes in all the time and love the old place, which I totally understand, might look at us as like, why would you mess with a good thing? And the way we did this, I don't think that's what we were doing. The reality was we had just outgrown the space. Yeah. And it was restricting us from growth. We didn't have the parking. We didn't have the space inside. The building was deteriorating. It wasn't worth investment in the building because it would just the expenses that were necessary weren't going to drive new sales. That money could have been, put elsewhere. And this sets us up for years to come now, right? This keeps the pipe and pint in people's lives. When you're in a tough economic environment, like gas is, in North Carolina, regular gas is almost $5. Diesel is like $6, depending on what other states you work in. So cigars and cocktails and bourbon, those are things that can easily be cut, from a person's life. Sans certain people who just like, that is their lifestyle to smoke cigars. Maybe that changes their buying habits, but this is something that sets us up for success going forward.
Yeah. And we've talked about on the podcast before, I think, the two biggest requests, because I don't necessarily think there were complaints, but you may even could throw the word complaint out, was we wish we could drink at your location, and we wish you stayed open later. We tried to do the stay open later thing when you bought the business that one summer.
Yep.
The problem was you couldn't drink, and the two go so hand in hand. If you're hanging out, if you've gone out to dinner and you're trying to have a cigar and a cocktail, and you can't have the cocktail, chances are you're probably just going to go home and smoke and drink at your bar. And so the ability to do that at the old location was non-existent. There was nowhere to put a bar in there.
No.
I mean, we could have basically gutted the place and we still wouldn't have had room for a bar.
No, absolutely not.
And so finding this and the bar already being where it was and having good bones and just being able to do it, it solved both of those issues. And, you're talking about customers and customer reaction. Thankfully, all the reactions we've had so far have been awesome. But, talk about buying habits for a second. We've, like you said, we were there for 16 years. We had people that were coming to us every single day at the same time.
Yep.
And so, that is a concern when you move your business is how are they going to react? And thankfully, those people have just changed where they're coming and they still come at the same time. And they seem to love it even more than the old place. Now, whether it be because they can get a drink or because they got a new chair in the lounge, I don't know. But
either of those are reasonable expectations.
Yeah. But it's just been good to see because we were excited about it and have been talking it up for so long. But it took a little bit longer than we were hoping.
Yeah.
And so I think there were people getting a little bit like, all right, and then everybody's coming and seeing it and they're like, wow. And that's been great to see.
Yeah. The reaction is literally nothing but positivity so far.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple complaints were like, it's very busy in here.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't,
right.
I don't want to work on that one.
Yeah.
If anything, I want it to be busier.
Yep.
We want it to be busier. It makes for fast days. I can tell you that.
Someone asked me today
how does not drag on.
How I felt about the place, and I was like, I love it. It was a nice change of pace, but yeah, I mean, I can't believe we've already been open for 10 days. It feels like we've been open for 2 just because we've been going nonstop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been so good just to see everybody else enjoy it, because we talked about it and we thought they would, but you don't know.
You don't know until it happens. And going on to your point, like I've told people, if we just sent out a poll to 1,000 of our customers, didn't tell them what we were doing, and just said, hey, give me 5 things that you would want to see differently or changed or recommendations, whatever that word may look like, with a bullet, later hours would be the number one. Not even close. Because we were closed at 6 for reasons, Larry was, because he was working in the shop, wanted to go home. Totally understand that. And along with those later hours, the ability to have a cocktail, have a beer, whatever it may be, to enjoy. With so many people's like, I get out of work, by the time I get to my car, it's 5:15, 5:20. I get to your place, it's 5:40, and you can't hang out and have a cigar. And I totally understand that. We are a retailer during the day, but an amenity in the evening now. You know what I mean? But but we still have that, obviously, the retail aspect.
Yeah. Well, and one of the questions when you posted the opening date and all the new pictures that we got on Instagram was, where's the humidor? I can't see the humidor. And I think they even said something along the lines of like, I hope you're still doing the cigars. And one thing we wanted to make a point of is that cigars are our business, right?
Yes.
The bar is an accessory to that business. That's right. Is awesome, and they obviously complement each other very well. But if we want to talk about the humidor for a second, this was the first humidor for Greensboro that you've been able to design.
Yep.
The way we wanted it to look. And everybody, when they walk in the humidor, first thing they say is, wow.
It's wide-eyed. It looks so cool.
Yep.
Our shelves are now, geometric. They're level. They're even. They're spacing. We're not tearing lids off of boxes. So the nice boxes are now on display. The humidor, or not the humidor, but the fireplace now, that look in there, the aesthetic of it. We redid the hardwood floors. All of that stuff just looks, incredible. Everybody, some people who I think, we would consider, a little abrasive in the past are wowed by everything. And gives them a sense of renewal. And now this allows us to reset on some of those things. And we've talked about this. It's a natural progression. And even though a lot of our customers know us from the store that we just moved from, that wasn't the original location. It was years at another location that maybe a lot of people didn't realize. You and I both know that. I was a customer of that location. So it's a natural evolution of the business. Larry needed it then. He was, for multiple reasons, but one big reason is he didn't have a real good smoking area, and he didn't have a lounge area, and he was bursting at the seams there. Did you ever go in that space?
Nope. I became a customer basically 6 months after Larry had moved.
That humidor was like a closet.
Yeah.
It was half the size max of our current humidor. You know what I mean? It was, maybe it was 30%, of the size or something like that.
I've heard stories.
It was angled. Before, it was, things were jammed in there. It was good. It was usable, and worked for what that space was and everything like that. But, he recognized then he needed a better spot and to do different things.
Well, and the evolution of business, when Larry first opened up, and I don't know if a lot of people realize this, he opened up as a pipe store and a homebrew supply store and craft beer store. Yeah, he had cigars, but we've talked about it before. As time goes on, the business evolves, and so the big joke is always we're the pipe and pint, but our business for a long time have been cigars and wine.
Yeah, yep.
And now it's cigars and bar/lounge area, which is fascinating. Not to say we still don't do the wine. The wine's a big part of it too.
Yep.
I mentioned earlier we're not letting people smoke at the bar, and we did that intentionally with the customer in mind. Same thing with the wine room. We've set the wine room up so that there's like bistro chairs, so that if someone wants to come in and have a glass of wine and doesn't want to be surrounded by cigar smoke, they can sit up there. And the same thing with the bar. The biggest compliment that we got, well, not the biggest, but one of the biggest compliments we got at the old store was, I love that I can come in here and leave and not smell like cigar smoke.
Yeah, and that was important.
And that was, very important. So, the bar is non-smoking, and that thankfully hasn't been an issue whatsoever at all so far.
No, we want people to enjoy the lounge area. Yeah. We spent time, energy, and when doing this, there was a recognition that people like to sit at a bar, talk to the bartender, and smoke. So that wasn't lost on us, and we did set up an area. So it's not huge, but there is an extension in the lounge area to the bar that's got bar stools at it. So if you're a person who likes talking to the bartender, talking to the guys, sitting and smoking, that vibe and feel is still there. Yeah. We've got that for you, and it gets used all day, every day.
And but when we were talking about this, I don't know if I ever even told you this, I wasn't sure if people were legitimately going to come in and just sit at the bar and have a beer, or if wives were going to come in with their husbands and sit in the wine room and have a cocktail. And it's happened multiple times now.
Right from the jump. Right in the first week.
Yep.
And, we'll touch on a lot of this stuff, but, one of the things that we talked about, one of the growing, probably maybe the fastest growing consumer in the cigar buying public is the female cigar smoker. Mm-hmm. And while we have had a good customer base of that in the past, this now opens us up to that market in a much larger way. You and I talked about this. This is just a personal opinion, but I do at the moment think the female smoker is a very social smoker.
Yes.
Yep. Not as much of a box buying, retail buying, but I'm coming in with my friends. I want to have a drink. I want to have a glass of wine. I want to have one of the cocktails you make, whatever it may be, and smoke my cigar. And I think it's bared to be true through the first 10 days that's been the case. We've had a lot of female customers in doing that exact thing, coming in as singles, but as a group as well, with 4 or 5 ladies, each getting a cigar, each getting a drink, hanging out, using the patio, using the lounge.
Yep.
So that opens us up to an entirely new and more expansive market that we can serve.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing about the old store, and I don't know, it's necessarily sad to say, but it's just the reality of it. The old store was, for lack of better words, run down. The bathrooms weren't in the best shape. The lounge wasn't in the best shape. Yep. And when ladies came in to smoke, a lot of times they sat on the front porch because it was a turnoff.
Yep.
And that was, again, something that we recognized that we needed to fix, but again, we couldn't fix it in a realistically good way at the old place.
No, and the reality is we could have moved anywhere. If we just wanted to move, we could have gone anywhere, but we did not want to do that. We didn't want to go way across town, away from our customer base. We didn't want to go into just any old, modern commercial retail type of space. It needed to be the right space, so it felt like what we've worked so hard to build, you and I together over the last 7 years, but what's been built up to the years prior to that. And without walking everybody through, I think we'll do a cool walkthrough video
I was thinking
some
about
point
that,
in time.
Doing like a realtor kind of.
Yeah.
Or MTV crib style.
Yeah, a little crib style. Yeah, it would be great
Yeah.
To give everybody the feel and the vibe. But if you've been here now and you were a customer before, it immediately hits you. You totally understand now what we intended for this to be and how it was meant to feel like the old stuff. Like it felt now like an extension of what we've done in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and something that I don't think many people know or would realize, we looked at other places. Mm-hmm. You especially looked at multiple places and for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is something that we've wanted to do, but that's how important it was to us to be able to keep the aesthetic, and keep the vibe, keep the same customer base in the same area. And we found some really cool places that we could have done some really cool stuff with, but it just didn't feel like the pipe and pint.
No, it didn't. one spot would have been really cool.
Yep.
It would have been far more modern.
Yeah.
Than we are now. And we've got modern space. The Durham store is much more contemporary versus the others, but somehow still manages to feel like us. So we stay, with a certain level of continuity with paint colors, furniture, plans, and everything like that, so that you feel like you're in the space that you recognize. Right. But again, this space was an absolute Hail Mary, and it works for us. It works for the guys who own the space. They're beyond happy with what their investment in the building looks like. So, again, go back to the Hail Mary reference. It just doesn't always happen like that. And I'm glad we took the time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We didn't have to be in a rush. Yep. Obviously, we weren't having to move out of the building or anything like that. So you get into those moments, and we worked hard at it and super patient. It just couldn't have worked out better.
Yeah, and I think the best reaction, for me anyways, and I have to imagine for you, was Larry's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the man that started the business.
Yep.
And I can't remember even exactly what he said when he came in.
It was like this mixture of like the look on his face and what he was saying, like 100% got, like when he saw it, like he knew from the outside what the vibe was, but once he saw the inside, with like, he's beyond proud and happy, but like, I get it. I see it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah,
and he understood when, what we talk about when we're like trying to keep, this isn't a rebrand or a redux or anything like that. It's just a natural evolution that our customers have allowed us to do.
Yep. So I guess now the second half of the podcast, unless there's something else you wanted to hit on with the space, is the now what part. What does the future hold?
Who knows? Right? Like, so question to you.
Yeah.
And this is, and when you say now what, so what this is going to look like over 3 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, and how this evolves. And we have little things, if you're a business owner out there and maybe you're thinking about a cigar lounge, we can touch on things that I think are important, at least important to us. And it's not a one size fits all thing. Okay. We're coming from an existing business that has this certain level of success. I was confident in that we weren't going to lose our existing customer base. I did not feel like that was going to be affected really at all, honestly. And that's also bared to be true so far. Because we didn't move far. We moved 1.5 to 2 miles closer to probably close to 95% of our customer base, and keeping that same vibe. So it's one of those things where it can be different if you're starting it from scratch. You know what I mean? I completely, totally understand that if you're going into a new market, you don't know what your customer base is going to look like, what the reaction to the local community of cigar smokers or just shoppers is going to look like. I'm curious from you. So what have we been open? 10 days?
Yep.
Yeah. Give me a couple things that you didn't expect or surprised by so far.
I'm surprised at the number of drinks that we're selling.
So that would be my number one as well.
Yeah. Now, if we took a step back and looked at big picture, it's like, yeah, it makes sense because we have been busy. Yeah. But I tell you what, let me clarify this. The number of drinks that we've been selling to customers that would never hang out with us before.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we talk about, like that we're accomplishing with this new space. It opens us up to new revenue streams, right? New ways to increase dollars into the store. Because the reality is that's ultimately what this is about. We can't be open for you if we're not making money from you.
Yep. So perfect example is there's a sweet lady that comes in here named Veronica. And she comes in, even at the old store, she came in 3 or 4 times a week, and she always bought 2 tins of the Villiger Sunny tins consistently. Mm-hmm. Sweet lady. She'd buy cigars for her husband every now and again. She came in maybe it was the first day we were open. I don't know.
It was within the first couple days.
Yeah, and she brought one of her girlfriends in here, and I told her we were doing a bar, but I don't think she fully understood.
So there is some of that aspect to a customer. It's like we've been trying to tell them what we're doing, but we didn't open it up to the floor either. Like,
correct.
If you own a business, and if you're moving or whatever it may be, you can't do everything that your customers ask for. It's impossible. You know what I mean? That's one of those, if you're doing them all, you're doing none kind of thing.
So she came in here, like I said, within the first day or two, had her girlfriend with her, didn't realize it was a bar. She bought her 2 tins of vinegar, and then her and her girlfriend stayed for 2 hours, had 3 or 4 drinks apiece, and then she bought a couple bottles of wine when she left. She has never bought wine from us before. She's never bought anything other than those vinegar tins and a cigar or 2 from her husband. Her and her husband came back Friday night for the Fuente event.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they were the ones that won the door prizes. They won the ashtray and the bobblehead.
That's right.
They hung out. They had cocktails. They brought some friends with them. They met some friends here. And there's a lot more examples of that I just didn't see happening. I don't know why, but it just, like, I never in a million years thought her of all people would want to hang out here. And not because I don't like her. I love her to death. She's a sweet lady.
She's great.
But I never thought she'd want to hang out here, and she has been here multiple times here now hanging out.
Yeah, that's my number one as well. So I knew we would, right? But you just don't know. Like, and what we've done is we've got our menus. And again, the bar is not our, I don't want to say focus because that's not the right word, but we are maintaining the line of us being an elite and premier retailer, right? I feel like you can get the best prices on cigars, certainly in Greensboro, the Triad, or whatever you want, that you're going to get here. We take a pride in trying to get the best price available and sell it for the best price that you can get it for. So we want that to be our focus, where people can come learn about cigars, pipe tobacco, and all that kind of stuff. So the bar was set up in a fashion when we first started, and we talked about it. And, again, this is not a one size fits all, and not everybody does it the same way, but we wanted to keep it simple, not bare bones, but keep it simple, keep it efficient. So, we've got our menus with a very curated and tight wine list with whites and reds. We've got 6 beers that we keep on tap. We've got 3 or 4 canned options, kind of domestic stuff that you might expect if that's kind of your thing, if you're not a craft beer person. And then we've got 4 classic cocktails on our cocktail menu that, we have got old fashioned, we've got a margarita,
daiquiri. We've
got a daiquiri, and we've got a mule, I believe, on the classics. And Jasa set that up, and then we kind of tasked her with, now we want 4 house cocktails. And she came up with, I'm going to forget the names, but like Maduro Rose, the Juniper and Cedar, the Back Room. Is it Back Room number 7? Is that what we call it? Yep. And then one more.
There's 2 more. Sour and Draw.
Okay, well, I was going to get to Sour and Draw.
Okay, we're going to get that. My bad.
But, so we've got those, which are, specialty elevated cocktails. And then we have one particular customer who is our friend as well, who downright demanded that there be a whiskey sour on the menu.
I'm glad he did it.
I'm glad he did, because it's outside of the old fashioned is our next best selling cocktail so far. So shout out to him. And we have that on there. And we, because we're focused on the cigars, we didn't want to be overwhelmed with the bar piece. So we didn't need to have 40 different specialty cocktails of different ilks and stuff like that. We're still limited on space if you put it in the context of a traditional cocktail bar. Now, the interesting thing is I've visited some cocktail bars over the last 4 or 5 months where if we put our size in context with some of the others, we're about the same, which caught me by surprise a little bit when I started thinking about like actual square footage that the bar takes up and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to do the bourbon program. That's a huge cigars and bourbon go together like what? Chocolate and peanut butter kind of thing. Peas and carrot. Easy, man. So doing that had to be, again, we can't carry every single bourbon that's ever existed, that's available to us. And I gotta think that was probably one of your favorite things to do was to decide on that. On the bourbon list.
Yeah. I'll tell you what my favorite thing has been from that though, is seeing everything sell. I know that sounds stupid, but like I said, I've never managed a bar before. And so like when I was telling you, hey, I think we need this, and this.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a shot in the dark.
Sure.
Just because it's what I like. And I know that other people like it, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if people would actually buy it. And we've opened every single bottle down there and sold through a lot of it.
I don't think that there is a bottle of the bourbons. We probably have. So interestingly enough, excuse me, the plan was to have 15 to 16.
Yeah.
Let's call them staple bourbons that we thought that would be readily available to us that we would put on a menu, and then when we could get specialty bottles, allocated bottles, rarities, we would jump on those opportunities when we could and get those things in. Now, that happened a lot quicker than we anticipated, I think.
Yeah.
At least for me, just because what I know about the bourbon market and for what I hear from you guys and stuff like that, there's certain things that are near impossible to get. And some of that craze has tempered down, I think.
It has, but I think this is where I don't know how I want to phrase this. The way that North Carolina runs their liquor, right? It's state controlled, and
it's not what you know, but who you know.
Yeah, it certainly that, but at least in Guilford County, they have seemed to plant their flag on focusing on bars and restaurants, right? So, like, great example, we had our good friend and customer Kyle come in here the other day, and he said that he needed a bottle of Buffalo Trace, and he went down to the liquor store to get one, and they didn't have it, and we had it, and you and I both know that at the warehouse, at least, we
haven't had any trouble buying it.
Like 15 cases of it case stacked. And so with Guilford County anyways, it seems like they focus on restaurants and bars, which is great for us. I know customers would much prefer to have it, but it's really nice to have access to that. And like you said, it is who you know. Thankfully, we've obviously got our good friend Katie, who used to be a wine rep, who now works for the ABC board, who has taken wonderful care of us.
And not just that, she's been an unbelievable resource in helping us get our account set up, letting us know what we need to be doing to make sure that we are complying with any. Because from my perspective, that's what, a lot of where my concern lies, right? Making sure that our company is compliant with these liquor laws, doing the proper steps it is for disposal. And, every state's different. We've been to, I come from the state of Michigan, where you can buy the fanciest bourbon that's available at a Meijer grocery store.
Yeah.
Right? North Carolina's not that way. It's the state-controlled ABC stores. You certain hours, certain days. There's been some progression on there, and there's a big push right now. I saw again for privatization and allowing retailers to sell liquor. I don't know where that would fall as far as how it would affect bar business, if it would or not. I don't know.
I feel like it would be like. It'd be like the wine business at that point. I feel like we'd be buying wholesaler from the big distribution companies.
Yeah. So yeah, she was super helpful in that, and we were very careful. Like we treated this is gonna be kind of a little bit of an analogy. We treated this for the cigar people as well. So we treated the bourbon the same way we treated Opus with cigars. If you buy Opus from us, you know that we do not price gouge it. We sell it for the retail price of the cigar. And you could go into a whole bunch of other cigar shops all across the country, and you could see it for double that price because they're holding the rarity piece of it hostage. And We don't do that with our cigars, so there was absolutely zero reason that we would do that with anything else that we sell, specifically the bourbon. So when we were looking for it and trying to decide what we do, we were very careful as we don't obviously want to undersell our stuff. I mean, we still need to get what we believe is close to the market price for things. We also didn't want to be the place where words around town, oh my God, I went over there and the pipe and pint, and you're in a different bar and you get a pour of, let's say it's Buffalo Trace and it's X, and you don't want that person to be like, oh, I got one of these at the pipe and pint and it was $6 more a pour. Like, that's crazy. So that was as tricky of a thing that we dealt with from the retail perspective as anything, is to make sure, like, because again, your and I's experience when it comes to the bar is on the consumer side.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now, shout out another person, and Todd, who has a bar here in Greensboro, who's a customer, who's a great friend to us and a great person. Like, he was willing to help send us details on how they handle it and what their procedures are and what their pricing looks like. So we were careful not to price ourselves outside of the market, but also not leave money on the table.
Yeah.
Because,
still
a business.
Yep. We talked about that because it was like, at the end of the day, we'd rather sell it than have people look at it.
Yeah, it's cool when somebody comes in as you know, I'm not a bourbon connoisseur. Like, I consider you guys, you and some of the other boys, guys who really know a lot about the bourbon and stuff like that. And I know what the things are, obviously. And I've told you a million times that a bourbon and ginger is my drink.
I've had a few with you.
Yeah. So if you pour me Pappy 23, I might pour a Werner's over top. It just is what it is, bud. Oh shit, I lost my train of thought. What was I just going to say?
I don't know, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, back to it. So the reaction to what you kind of curated as far as kind of the base stuff and then the things we were able to take down, the reaction has been like great selection, like really good. And it's a really good, it's not this bar back full of stuff that's $35 a pour.
Yeah.
And it's not this bar back of just well bourbon either. We've got something for everybody. If you like Bullet, it's back there. If you like Blanton's, it's back there. If you go up and you want some of these Willets or Wellers and those rarities and E.H. Taylors, that's there. But if you want a Jack and Coke, that's there.
Yeah. Well, and for me, I know bourbon based on what I like, but I know I can talk to anybody about bourbon and be educated enough, right? But
yeah,
I say that to say, like, there were a couple things I put behind the bar, like Wild Turkey Rare Breed.
That's something you love.
That's something that I love that I was not 100% sure if people would buy, and we're about out of it, right?
Oh, I've had to buy a second bottle already.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's a couple more things that I'd like to get back there. Like, now it's almost like confidence builder. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if this sold, I bet this will sell too.
Shoot your shot until one sits there on the top.
Correct.
Like,
yeah, basically.
Look at that.
Yeah, basically, I'll just drink it.
Even the Willet that we got the other day, that's the priciest pour we've got, has sold.
The Jack 14.
Jack 14, that's almost gone.
Yep. So, yeah, that's just been really cool to see. Just play out and everything. And also the beer. Now, the beer was interesting.
I wanted to touch on this. Beer has been selling at a far, I assume this is what you're going to say too, so I'll let you talk about it, at a far higher clip than I anticipated.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
But not at the detriment of the bourbon. They've both been just good. What it has been at the detriment to is wine.
Yep.
Wine, and I guess that in reality makes sense. Even though I enjoy wine with cigars, it's probably...
I'd guess it was below coffee.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, if you're kind of power ranking them. Yeah, sure.
But with that being said, like the beer, I told someone this today. It very much so seems that it's beer until about 4 o'clock.
Yep.
And then it's liquor, which makes sense, right? But I didn't even, how many backup kegs if we had to go through. We had to go get a fridge for the backup kegs just so that we had them because we were going through it at a clip that I don't think either you or I
if you're a bar
expected.
owner and you're listening to this and you're like, Jesus Christ, of course, man, you have a backup fridge, which we anticipated having to do.
Just not
in the first 3 days. Like, you just don't know. We were coming in so prepared, but somehow I feel like we were as prepared as anybody could be and also as blind as anybody could be going into something.
Yep.
Like, we really felt like we'd done our due diligence, done our work on it, but still just didn't know.
Well, and the crazy thing to me is I really thought there was one, if not two beers that we put on tap initially that would not sell very well. Not because they're not good beers, but because stylistically they're not as popular. Yeah, there's better movers than others, but everything we've kicked a keg of everything, if not two or three.
Yeah, so interested in kind of what your and I's thought process was on this was with 6 taps. That's about all we can handle with the space restrictions that we've got. We had kind of settled on what we consider 3 staples, kind of probably on all the time, stylistically, and then 3 that were more rotational. I mean, I think there's a couple like that we know are never coming off of tap. Like, so we're keeping Wicked Weed's Pernicious IPA is one of ours. That's kind of our staple, what I would call it, baseline IPA, right? Yep. And then we've got Red Oak's Amber Ale.
Yep.
Which, if you're a Greensboro person, that's a Greensboro brewery, super popular. And
it started right across the street from where we are.
It started right across the street from where we are. And then we've got a hazy little slurp from Noda out of Charlotte. Then we've got Green Man's Porter.
That was the one that I did not know if it would sell.
Gone through a couple kegs already of that. And then we've got Freak of Nature and Lime Drop.
Yep.
Everything has gone through, including some, like, I find it very unlikely that Red Oak will not ever not be on tap here if that double negative works. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, it just, there's a Greensboro connection. There's this connection of it starting with us right over here and everything like that. So it just has flown through. Lime Drop has been selling like crazy. Great summertime beer. Obviously, seasonally, I think that will change for that when we get into, you want a winter warmer style or something like that.
Well, and the great thing about Wicked Weed, and again, I don't think we can understate how important our customer base has been throughout this, but especially some certain people. Alan at Wicked Weed, Wicked Weed rep, good customer for a long time. He's played music for us before. We wanted to give him taps because we love Wicked Weed and we love Alan, and they make great beer. But at the same time, he also has done a lot of favors for us in the past, so it was good to show him that support. It's also good to see the beer selling, though, right?
Yeah.
With Wicked Weed, next seasonal they've got coming out is Fest beer. And so we'll probably have Fest beer on tap, and we'll probably have an Oktoberfest event.
We'll probably, I feel like Oktoberfest is a just near given type of event we should have out here in the backyard. A little Bavarian setup, put you in some lederhosen and call it an afternoon.
Some pretzels.
Oh, a little beer cheese. Speaking my language, man. Yep. Nothing goes better with a cigar than beer cheese and a pretzel, buddy.
I like that. Yeah. But no, it's just been so crazy to see because I just wasn't sure on. I love a porter and I love Freak of Nature from Wicked Weed, but I wasn't 100% sure at the clip that they would sell.
Yeah.
And
no problem.
Going through. Through.
And we'll still rotate because, like we talked about, I think some things like some bourbon stouts and stuff like that will be awesome on tap and that kind of thing. But there's clearly through the first 10 days a couple that are going to stay on tap for a long period of time. Pernicious probably will, maybe it's a different baseline IPA sometimes or something like that, but the Red Oak's not going anywhere certainly anytime soon. That works kind of all year round, to be honest with you. But yeah, the way the beer has been selling it now, that's has been at the expense of wine. But we've sold the glasses of wine and everything like that, but clearly the bourbon, the cocktails, and the beer have been kind of the shining star when it comes to the bar. And, that's a testament to what we've put on there, but also the bartenders are doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
That kind of covers the bar. Let's talk about the humidor for a second. So any cigar lounge, any cigar shop, any cigar bar, cigar bars can fall into a slightly different category sometimes, I think, where like, hey, we're a cigar bar and you go in and there's a cabinet humidor.
Well, so
and that's all there is.
I've always said, and I think you'd agree with me on this, there's two different kind of cigar retailers that have bars. There are cigar retailers that happen to have a bar, and there's cigar bars that happen to have a humidor.
We're the former there. We're a cigar retailer that happens to have a bar.
Yep. And so, going back to what that person said on Instagram, like cigars are our business. They'll always be our business. And so we've already said, being able to design the humidor the way we wanted to design it was a big deal. But we've also been able to do some fun things in it so far.
Yeah.
For those of you that aren't customers, one of the things that Larry is infamously known for is the vault.
Yeah.
Right. So Larry has a belief that cigars increase in value the older they are. And while that's true in some cases, it's not at an exponential rate. You're not seeing a big ROI there.
No.
Right. But Larry had squirreled a lot of cigars away. Now, we worked through a lot of those cigars during COVID when there was cigar shortage and people were getting into cigars, but there was still some stuff upstairs. So when we were kind of boxing everything up upstairs, went through it, and we picked some stuff out that we wanted to sell. And so being able to put old, vintage Casa Fernandez 35th Aniversario, original release Casada Reserva Privada, original El Wawance, old Viaje, Nat
Monte
Sherman.
Cristo Super Bowl edition from the Colts Saints Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to put that stuff on the shelf and seeing people buy them and smoke them and get to enjoy them.
Original release El Primo Mundo, the Larcenies.
The Larcenies, and there's still a couple other things that we've got. One in particular that I'm really excited about. It's the lounge exclusive, original release lounge exclusive. There's a box down there.
Is there really?
Yeah. My father.
Whoa, I didn't notice that one when we were unpacking.
It's one of those signed boxes. Yep.
Sick.
Yeah, super excited about that. But
sick.
Being able to do that's been really cool. But, it's also given us the ability to bring in new brands. Now, we haven't done that yet. We're working on it.
Yep.
We had to
you got new brands coming
first.
Yep. Give me some time, folks. It costs money. It costs money.
That's right. And we talked about that a little bit after PCA, but there's, a couple brands that we're really excited about. One that I'm smoking right now is Ortolan, which I will never stop talking about. I can't wait for this. I'm hoping, I hadn't told you this yet, but Mike is wanting to do a possible release event here August 29th-ish.
Okay, that's what he's thinking. That's what it's
when
looking
he's
like?
thinking.
Sick.
But outside of Ortolan, different brands that we're excited about that we have the ability to bring in now. And then also refocus on some brands that have kind of gotten overshadowed and lost.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you said, the old Humidor, the way it was set up, yeah, it was 9 shelves tall, but there was gaps in between shelves. They were squished together really tight. It was hard to get some boxes on there. We were ripping lids all the time. So when you start double stacking and throwing everything in there, things get lost.
Yeah, I mean, these manufacturers spend time, energy, and money on their packaging for a reason. Yeah. And in a lot of ways, that was negated with our old Humidor. Not to their fault and really not to our fault. It's just what we had, and we had to do it like that to fit it in a much smaller room.
Yep. Now, one thing that I've had to, and I'm still kind of relearning, the old Humidor, the way people walked it was clockwise, right? And same with this. When people are walking clockwise, it makes sense.
The way the door's oriented and everything.
But based on where we had things in the old Humidor, we very much so knew where the good spots were. Yes. Right? Like if we wanted to focus on a brand, it was going in this spot. I feel like the good spots have changed a little bit with this Humidor.
Interesting. Yeah. So I would guess, so a little hard on one because I would think that the very first left side of the island would be a hot spot, but it's got a very unique set of circumstances with it right now because that's where the stuff that we're limited, vintage stuff that we've been putting. So there's obviously a gravitational pull towards that. Yep. I feel like where we have Perdomo currently is a natural, I'm walking straight to it. That's helped a little bit by their packaging as well with the shelf talkers and stuff. It really, when Arthur and who's the other? I'm trying to think of the
Ralph
and Arthur. Sorry, Ralph. My bad, dog. When Arthur and Ralph see that for the first time, I think they'll be very happy. I'm sure they won't be 100% happy. They'll want to change something. Shout out to those guys who change something every time. But their packaging in that instance is very much working. So I would think that those are going to be two very hot spots. I mean, have you noticed where think?
The one that I am most fascinated by is Viaje.
That particular spot has seemed to be a hot spot?
We have sold old Viaje that we could not give away at the old store here recently.
Really?
I sold Cash the other day. I sold some Circa the other day, like stuff that we've had on the shelf for a long time in Greensboro.
That's good to hear, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and it's not like, I mean, they're in a good spot because there's not. Nice thing about this humidor is there's not a bad spot.
There's not a bad spot.
It's more well lit. It's better
so much
spaced
more well
out.
lit.
You can see it. You can shop it easier.
Walkability of it. There were some corners and spots in the old humidor where just like if somebody else was in the humidor, you just weren't getting over there.
Yeah, it was very tough to shop the bottom shelf.
Yeah,
in the old humidor. Whereas here, bottom shelf sounds like a bad thing. Not here.
No, it's very visible.
Yeah,
it's very right in your face.
Yeah.
It's not everything is up off of the floor,
Yep.
which is a pet peeve of both yours and I's, but sometimes it was a necessary evil. I do think the spot where we put our pipe and pints is a very hot spot. So there's a set of built-in shelves to the right of the fireplace that we wanted to utilize for our stuff. We thought it would be a cool spot where we could backstock bundles and put our stuff in trays. Very much see people, whether they're buying or not, everybody looks at it, which is great.
Yep. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. AJ, man, that's just that. Let's set aside the store for a minute. That shit just sells, man. It is unbelievable
Shout
how
out
well
Don.
that
He's
brand.
got to be super happy with us. We've brought some AJ stuff in over the last, say, 24 months. And we probably did spend some time and energy and with a new focus on it. It was certainly asked about. You know what I mean? He makes such good stuff. And across the board, it's price point friendly.
Yep.
It's not cheap, but it's not just egregious and outrageous. And it covers the bases. And the new stuff that they've done and released over the last few years at PCAs, Decenio, this year with Amar, before that, the 20th anniversary, Dias de Gloria Brazil. Bangers, man.
Yep.
Putting out hits. And people have it. Like, Amar's awesome.
Yep.
Decenio is awesome.
Yep.
Dorado from a few years even before that is still a brand that sells. They've done a really good job. So, and again, they work with us. They've done, good by us and everything like that. So it lights a fire under us. Be like, all right, yeah, let's absolutely, like, for sure. But man, it sells. It's in a good spot, I think, too, in our humidor. Like, and again, we kind of planogrammed the humidor a little bit. You and I walked through there. And I said, like, this would be great for these two based on the facings we have. We knew Perdomo because we are a massive Perdomo retailer. We knew it needed shelf space. It needed top to bottom shelf space. So we knew where kind of ultimately it had to go. And we kind of planogrammed it, but nothing with, I think we should put this here because it's the best spot for the best guys or anything like that. There was no bias in us putting it on there. It was more of an efficiency thing.
Correct.
Like, these things need to be here because this is going to be a common spot for people who, whether it was the flavored stuff and that type of thing.
Yeah, and as much as we planogrammed, it was kind of like, okay, y'all were packing stuff up and I was unpacking and getting it on the shelf the night that we moved, and it was like, all right, well, this is what I have right now, so this is what I'm putting right here.
Yeah, yep.
Right?
Yep.
And it just worked, and it just looks so good, and it sounds so dumb to say, but, just having the box lids facing out, being up,
it's what they're for.
Yep.
We've gone to a new pricing display, which I think looks really nice now versus the old price gun and just sticking them on there. It's very uniform, looks very professional.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it befits us as an upper end retailer of what that looks like and kind of our, let's call it status or stature. that sounds a little silly, but the reality it is. There's an expectation, especially now, there's an expectation of what we've built here to make sure that this continues to be a place where people want to come in. It doesn't fall off. That you come here, that you're, and this is a good segue. I want to talk a little bit about, and there's one other particular cigar retailer who I think thinks very similar to the way we think about it and we talk about it, is that customer service and hospitality piece of it. Now that we have people hanging out and staying here, it's very important that they, not only that they get good customer service, that they feel welcome, that they feel comfortable. When we talk to maybe new employees or potential new employees or, people who are being onboarded, we sell products that people really want to buy. So when a person walks through the door, I'm not going to lie to you, about 90% of the work is already done for you. Yeah. When we're talking about our guys, the guys you manage in the shops and that we have, which is, if they walk through the door of a wine, cocktail, beer, bourbon, whatever cigar place, their intent is to buy something that they really enjoy. Yep. They're in a good mood about being able to buy what they're about to buy. Even if they were in a shit mood for the rest of the day, what they're coming to get from us probably makes them fairly happy, right? So 90% of that work is done. It's that last 10% that probably takes 90% of our effort, right? Anybody can come through and buy something. We want that person to, in a lot of cases, stay, hang out, enjoy, come, like tonight, we have a watch party for the hockey game. Watch the game, have a beer, have a cocktail, have a pour of bourbon, smoke a cigar, smoke another cigar. But if they're just there to buy, we want them to come back in 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever it's going to be. And that 90% of our effort is what finishes that last 10% off for them.
Yeah. One of the things that the old store had a trap for was, in my opinion, complacency.
100%.
And I know I found myself in that position a lot of times because it was same guys a lot of times every day, same time, selling the same thing. You knew what they were going to buy. It was almost like, hey, let me know if I can help you. It's like,
they weren't going to complain about it.
Yeah, it was just like,
they always get.
And so like it allowed the complacency to creep in where it was like, all right, well, if it's not vacuumed, it's not a big deal.
Correct.
Or if the bathrooms aren't clean, it's not a big deal.
Right.
Now it's almost awakened. It's like, it's silly to say it's good for us because business has been good, but it's also been good for us in this way too, of like, hey,
it's a reset for everybody.
Correct. Yep. It's a new thing. It's exciting. It's a lot to manage. Like you said, the days go by a lot faster. Like I've smoked far less cigars the last 10 days than I have.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. Agreed.
And that's because I want to make sure that whoever's sitting in the back has a cocktail, has a beer.
100%.
I want to make sure it's clean. I want to make sure the pipe tobacco jars are full. I want to make sure the humidor's faced, because we work so hard on this that I want to make sure that everybody has the best experience they possibly can. And I know Cole feels the same way. Jay Sahana feel the same way. I'm sure Bree will feel the same way. And that's just been really good for morale. It's been good for business. It's been good for just all around.
Yep. Yeah, we want you to come in, and if you're paying the money that we're asking for your cigar, potentially a $20 pour of bourbon, a $12 to $13 cocktail, you're spending good, hard-earned money with us, and that's not lost on us, right? Yep. Like, we don't want you sitting down with a full dirty ashtray that somebody before you left, with old wrappers sitting on the table or anything like that, old glassware or anything like that. And it's created for a fun environment, because I will say that we are talking and shooting the breeze with far more people now than we ever did. So that kind of, I think, complacent and boredom is kind of out the window. You know what I mean? So we want you to feel like that hospitality piece of it is actually, in a lot of service businesses, is more important now than I think it has ever been, because of the price that things cost across the board, not just with the products we sell, the products that everybody sells. So if somebody chooses to spend their money with us versus somewhere else, somebody decides to come here versus any other cocktail lounge or whatever to get their pour of bourbon, it shouldn't be lost on us that they are spending their hard-earned money with us and that they should expect not for anybody to be like, okay, all right, see you later, that kind of thing.
Well, and it's a sense of pride too. And it's funny because like I always wanted people to come to the old store, but I realized that people didn't see the old store the way that I saw the old store. I had a connection with the old store that was much deeper than just, hey, I'm a customer kind of thing. Now, the pride that this is a beautiful establishment that offers pretty much anything that anyone who is a cigar smoker could want.
Yep.
It's clean, it's nice, the ventilation's good, like all these things, right? And so now it's like I want you to come here not because I love it. I do love it still, but I want you to come here because it's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And we were talking the other day how it kind of has an old school tavern feel when you walk in with the way
the way the sign
is and everything. Yep. And you know, you and I have had this conversation. One of my favorite places that I used to go have a beer at was McCool's, which was an Irish pub in downtown Greensboro. And the reason I loved it is because it had that old school tavern. I'm going to go sit at the bar. I'm going to shoot the breeze with the bartender.
Yep.
And they closed, unfortunately, earlier this year. And I was like, man, we don't have that anymore. And without even realizing it until we kind of got open, that's what this has become. And like the customers have even said, like, this is a place I can come be. I can come enjoy. I can come get away. I can come forget about it. I can come watch the game. I can come hang out with my friends. I can bring my wife here. It can be all the things.
Yep.
And it's awesome to be able to offer that. And that's been the most exciting thing for me.
100%. Yeah, I want that look on people's face, how excited they've been for the first time seeing it, to always be the case.
Yep.
Right? That the expectation is always met.
Yep.
And if they choose to bring new people, that's the thing too, not to forget, is if you make an impression on a regular, they're going to bring new people. And like you said, we've seen so many people and heard from so many people that there wasn't a chance in hell that they were hanging out with us at the old place past the retail purchase they were going to make. Hey, I'm coming back. Doc the other day, like, I got to get back over here.
Barry, yesterday, came in, bought his box. He buys a box. One of our best box buying customers buys a box basically every 5 days, and he said he was bringing a friend and a lady that he's friends with tonight to come hang out.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would he have ever brought a woman here.
Nope.
Period.
Period.
Yep. No questions asked about it.
Totally understand why.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
That ain't lost on us.
No,
totally
I get it. But he was excited to do it. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously this is what we were hoping for.
Yeah.
And this is what we envisioned.
Yep.
But you never know until you do it. And to see the reaction be the reaction that we've had so far, it's great.
Yeah.
It really is great.
I'm excited for all of us, the entire team. If you're a customer of one of other stores regularly, I know what you're going to say. Okay. If you're a Winston person, when's it coming to Winston? When we can do it, we'll do it.
Yep.
It's that's not lost on us either. Like, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes money. You don't want to be spread too thin. But yeah, 10 days in, you're going to hear a lot about how things are going over our podcast to come in the future. So it's great. Let's talk real quick while we wrap it up, event-wise.
Yep.
So we've got, if you're listening, 29th, I think it is. Is that next Saturday? 28th or 29th?
Sounds right.
Yeah. In Durham, Aganorsa Tasting Experience. Super cool event where you get the chance to, we've done them in the past in Greensboro, where you get a chance to taste fumas and parts of the cigars. Excuse me, I got the beer burps going on, man. Drink, getting high on my own supply, man. So we've got that coming up. So be on the lookout for that. We can officially announce here, because this will come out beforehand, June 13th. Saturday, June 13th, will be our official grand opening event here at the Greensboro location. Saturday, all day. You want to come at open?
Big old party.
You want to come at close? Cool. We're going to have a food truck, working on the logistics of that, but undoubtedly there will be a food truck here. Probably, we talked about that kind of like that early dinner time, 4 to 8 kind of thing. live music. Our guy, John G. Franklin, who's been awesome at the Durham locations, performing for us that night. We'll have Spin to Win. We'll have maybe that lounge exclusive comes out that weekend. You know what I'm saying? Some other potential pops of cigars coming out.
Drink specials.
Maybe
it's gonna be a big old party.
Maybe a grand opening cocktail special that we can figure out would be something cool. It's going to be awesome. Shout out to the folks, Jewish Federation behind us, who have been kind enough to let us use overflow parking on those types of days. So we'll have that available to us, which is great. So we'll have that. And then you'll see all sorts of events. It opens up a world of possibilities to us. Events were always great at the other store, always super well attended. We appreciate it. But they were probably more work than they needed to be for us just to hold a simple event because of the space and size. Cigar Club was tight. It was tough to do. The tailgate for A&T Homecoming was tough to do because of the parking and everything like that. That's just no longer an issue for us. We can, our first day, Cigar Club, we had Montana doing Elijah Craig bourbon tasting. We're going to have bourbon nights. We're reaching out to Greensboro Bourbon Society to do something and have a bourbon event. These things are just going to be far more frequent. There's going to be something for you to do if you like a certain brand of cigars or a certain bourbon or whatever it may be. These things are just good. The possibilities are endless for us to do. And even if it's a simple thing like we're doing today, which is the Hurricanes are game 1 tonight, watch party. Come out, hang out with us, and watch the hockey game. It's going to be on the TVs. Wear your gear, get a little discount on your cigars if you do. But just doesn't require much of us additional effort to give somebody a good night to come hang out with us and a good reason to. So all sorts of things. We're talking wine dinner or cigar wine dinner potentially at the end of the year, which is an event we've wanted to do for the longest time. We see competitors in other areas having these unbelievable steak dinners with guys smoking cigars and having wine and everything like that. It's just something we couldn't do. Could have never done. But now we have the space here. We can actually accomplish that. Is awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Cigarnival.
We'll make that announcement. Maybe we're not
going to talk about it, but it's a great name.
Drop it in your earbud. Let it itch around and bang around your brain. Something called Cigarnival. Cigarnival. Maybe in the fall. Probably in the fall. We're going to have a big-ass multi-vendor event that could be really cool. Because we get that. I mean, listen, our 25th anniversary was one of the biggest, coolest events, maybe the biggest, coolest event we've ever hosted, period, that the Pipe and Pints had. What did we have to do? We had to rent a frickin' 2-acre yard to be able to do it. Don't have to do that now. Yep. Although if we did want that many people again, we would have to do that.
Yep.
But we can host those types of events for those people who's like, when are you going to have another event like that? I said, well, that was our 25th anniversary, so give me another 25 years and we'll put that on the books. We can accomplish these things now in a way that everybody can enjoy, have a place to park, have a place to sit, and really have a great time. Like that, there just isn't being done by anybody else around here.
Yep.
That's just the reality. That's not us tooting our horn or anything like that. One of the big multi-vendor cigar events in the country was hosted right down the road up until COVID, and they nixed it, right?
Yep.
So if you're looking for those big time events, we're going to be able to put those on for you. So it's a huge, huge upgrade for us to do it. I'm super psyched about all those things.
Yep. It's going to be fun.
First 10 days are awesome. Couldn't have done it without you. And I appreciate all your help, and the entire team's been awesome. Some of the people at the other stores would like, hey, can I work over there? Yeah. It's like, well, we'll get you there. It'll be all right.
Daniel, if you listen to this.
Yeah, Daniel, shout out Holland. He's like, hey, man, I could work over there. That's cool. That kind of thing. I think Austin had a sick time on Saturday. So be on the lookout for our guys. Come in and meet the new people, meet the bartenders, have a drink with us, check out the new space. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Yeah, between two burns, between two burns, come and join the convo. Jason and Ethan here to talk, yo. Chillin' while we filling up the room with cigar smoke. Ay, between two burns, between two burns, yeah, between two burns. This be the show that you like, we always keeping it hype. We got cigars and a mic, talking the pipe and the pint. Let's go.